Thank you. Thank you. Titan has freed us.
Oh, I wouldn't say free. More like under new management.
Hey all yous, yuns, and y'all. We take a break from our regularly scheduled romp through Middle-earth to revisit the quest for the lost city of Flavortown. I'm your host, Pragmatic EDH, and today we will be talking about Ratadrabik of Urborg, a 4-drop black and white zombie wizard. It has one keyword that is more important than anything else in the card, and that keyword is and. And. There's so many ands in this card, it's like it's broken or something. Anyway, it has Vigilance and Ward 2, and it gives other zombies Vigilant, and, oh man, we really are saying and a lot. Whenever another legendary creature you control dies, you create a 2/2 non-legendary zombie creature token copy of that creature. And there's no downside. I really don't know what they were thinking. I don't know why they think this was supposed to be legal. How did this make it happen? To be honest, it's shocking to me that Ratadrabik really hasn't sat on the radar of people. I know I definitely built it to try it when it came out because I was like, cool, legendary commander, whatever. This commander needs some love, and it's because of the new Lord of the Rings cards, particularly the Ring Bearer effect and its first ability of making a creature legendary when they're your Ring Bearer. I mean, you can make multiple copies or just a 2/2 copy of any creature that would die as long as it's the Ring Bearer when your commander's out. Very, very strong. And this commander really needs the recognition that I feel it does, because now it has access to some very, very strong combos. Like, it was okay before, but there are some cards that have absolutely stacked the deck for it. It's amazingly powerful. I personally have this deck in paper, and I've been playing it really since I figured it out, and this is really what this is all about. This is a couple weeks ago. Pardon the delay on that. There was some stuff that happened. I lost a bunch of audio, and I've been psyching myself up to record again, because losing about 200 hours of editing felt really bad. That's why we're not seeing the long form video as I posted on the channel. Anyway, this commander is in my wheelhouse because something you may not know about me as Pragmatic EDH is I actually collect legendary creatures. They're my favorite thing to have because I love to build decks and take them apart and try new things. The big reason we're visiting this commander now is because of the Lord of the Rings set, because we got so many legendaries, and honestly, it's super powerful. We're able to use some really new and good cards in ways that they were never intended to be, or at least seems like they weren't even tested to be tried in this way. So we can really abuse that. So our game strategy and game plan really revolves around us using our very powerful legendary creatures that are singularly bombs, and they tend to really dictate the board state in our hand and how we're really looking to play based on really the shifting tide of what our deck ends up giving us a lot of times in our opener or after a wheel or whatever we've really got access to that's going to give us some sort of card advantage or ability to gain general value. And using our commander in a way that it's allowing us to abuse these really powerful legendary creatures is something we're very interested in doing. This deck's token making ability enables several very, very strong combos. They're easy to pull off. And this deck definitely wants to establish either a really good early board state or a safe way to generate value with mana. So it's either having something to do with a lot of mana or having a really good early game so we can kind of grind safely into our mid and late game with the eventual mana we're supposed to draw. Once this kind of happens, we're able to just threaten wins with either just a big enough board state or combos, which, you know, I like combos. There are 3 major combo cards we're going to be discussing rather than the combos themselves, because the combo cards will allow you to kind of riff a little better rather than just knowing really easy lines. So there are 3 total. Our first one is going to be Blade of Selves, a 2-drop artifact equipment with equip 4 that gives the equipped creature Myriad. This is really strong with any one of our awesome legendary creatures that we're able to make multiple copies of. However, this card truly shines when it's actually equipped to our commander Ratadrabik. We're able to safely swing in because he does have Vigilance. Just as a reminder, Ratadrabik will make 2 legendary copies of itself that will die to the legend rule. Each copy will have 2 copies of Ratadrabik, seeing it die, making 2 non-legendary copies of itself for each token made, in this way, again, if you have 3 opponents. It goes less, if you have only 1, you're only making 1 copy of Radidravic, which is still decent. But if you have 2, you're making 4. If you have 2 opponents, let me clarify that you aren't attacking. So basically, this allows us to abuse the fact that Radidravic's keywording is a little bit busted, and it allows us to get several copies of Radidravic, which just says anytime a legendary creature dies, you make a crap load of tokens of that creature. Second is Teysa Karlov as our next combo card. Originally, before this set came out, it was actually our best combo card in the deck, as Teysa Karlov is a 4-drop Human Advisor 2/4 that gives creature tokens you control Vigilance and Lifelink. Very, very good for us in this token creator heavy deck. It also has, if a creature dying causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control the trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. Radidravic is a death trigger. We're able to make more than one Radidravic trigger off of Radidravic. And then if Teysa Karlov dies with Radidravic out, Teysa will also make 2 copies of Teysa, meaning that every time a Radidravic trigger will happen, it will happen 3 times instead of just 1. It gets out of hand very fast, as again, having multiple copies of anything that makes Radidravic happen multiple times is extremely powerful. Finally, amongst our best combo cards, we have the new kid on the block, or really I should say the new mechanic on the block. This is a really powerful effect we're seeing outside of just Commander. It is Ringbearer. Ringbearer is particularly powerful in this deck, as again, we're able to make things that shouldn't be legendary, and having legendary on stuff, so we can trigger Radidravic off of the things that shouldn't be legendary, is very, very strong. The card we're referencing today, and particularly in this deck, is Boromir, Warden of the Tower. Boromir is a 3-drop 3/3 with Vigilance. It has whenever an opponent casts a spell, if no mana was spent to cast it, it gets countered. And finally, and most importantly, at least in this deck, you may sacrifice Boromir to give creatures you control indestructible until the end of the turn. It's very, very helpful in a deck that's reliant on its board state in order to win. It also has the Ring Tempts You. Boromir is able to infinitely sacrifice itself with our commander in play, with Radidravic and the ring and the timing of the ring temptation, because when you sacrifice Boromir, it is the cost to give your creatures indestructible and the ring will tempt you. What happens is, because there's no targets to designate with anything, because the ring doesn't target, you're able to make the token that is made by Boromir the Ring Bearer, and then continue to do so ad nauseum. Moving on from major combo cards to major value cards, because value is going to be a huge part of our game plan and how we're going to make the game work. It is, as our first entry, Gisa, Glorious Resurrectioner. Gisa is good. I would say it's not necessarily our most powerful value piece, but it's definitely among the top 3. Gisa, Glorious Resurrectioner is a 4-drop, 4/4 human wizard with the ability of whenever a creature an opponent controlled dies, exile it instead, and at the beginning of your upkeep, put all creature cards exiled with Gisa onto the battlefield under your control, and they gain Decayed. Just as a reminder, Decayed says whenever a creature attacks, you sacrifice at the end of combat, and Decayed creatures cannot block. This can be very, very strong if our opponents are also playing good legendary creatures, because we will get a token copy of them, and we'll have also prevented all the great stuff that our opponents wanted to do with them. Next up in our major value cards is Braid's Arisen Nightmare. Braid's Arisen Nightmare is a 3-drop nightmare that has at the end of your turn you may sacrifice a permanent. Each opponent may do the same, and for each person who doesn't, you draw a card. Now this card is often used to sacrifice a land or what have you. In our deck, it's a free sack outlet that may just net us a card, and that's awesome. And then having multiple is even cooler, because then we'll draw lots of cards. Because this deck loves card advantage as much as any other deck. Braids is awesome, more as just a value engine that doesn't necessarily result in any sort of win or anything like that. It's just very, very good. Finally on our list of cards is our best value card. It is Sidisi Undead Vizier, a 5-drop legendary Naga zombie that is a 4/6 with Death Touch. It also has Exploit. When you exploit a creature using this ability, You search your library for any card and put that into your hand. This pairs extremely nicely when our commander is in play, allowing Sidisi to exploit itself in order to find a card, and the token it generates can then exploit either another creature or the token itself in order to find a second card. Finding any 2 cards in your deck and putting them to your hand, especially once you're at the point where you can reasonably either cast or cheat Sidisi into play, is going to probably win you the game. I left this out of combo strictly because it doesn't feel like this card is the combo, it's just a really good card. Anyway, I'd like to thank everyone so much for tuning in, and I apologize for the hiatus. It really was not my intention to have gone on to one. Some things happened along with losing a bunch of footage and a ton of editing, as I do this really as a hobby. It was very discouraging, and I ended up really trying to find something else to do with my time for a little while to see if I was really enjoying what I was doing. I came back to it more because I do like it, and honestly I enjoy hearing a little bit of feedback now and then. So if you stayed around, you stuck around and waited for the 2 weeks, I do apologize. I'm back. I plan on doing weekly videos or bi-weekly videos consistently again. I'd like to thank everyone so much for watching. Pragmatic out.